Hey YouTube. I want to thank, first of all, those of you who've PM'd me to wish me good health in the last couple of days, and I want to let you know this is just a stomach flu I'm dealing with right now, and I'll be fine in a relatively short amount of time. I'm interrupting my temporary exile to join the chorus of those announcing to those suffering bullying in middle school and high school, especially in the wake of the recent suicides, that it gets better, because it does. I have a condition that most people have heard of by now, but that was only just beginning to make itself known when I was diagnosed as a young boy, called ADHD, or Attention Deficit Hyperactive Disorder. In addition to this, some of my major developmental transitions were punctuated by drastic changes in my social environment. When I was 4 years old, my family moved from Germany to the United States, specifically Arkansas. I spent my middle childhood coping with problem socializing, only to have my accomplishments set back by an emotionally abusive 5th grade teacher, and a move from the Deep South to the Midwest when I was 12, just at the start of adolescence. So there I was, a totally displaced kid from the Deep South, who had been socially set back to begin with, trying to deal with middle school and high school. It was awful. I have been fortunate never to have had to deal with the unique burdens of being homosexual, but like every adolescent, sexuality was a major feature of my sense of identity and of my struggle as a teenager. To be passionately attracted to literally hundreds of girls that I saw every day, none of whom had any interest in me, was a hardship on my developing brain, so dependent on just that sort of reinforcement. Every day was a struggle to reinvent myself as someone who could actually fit in. I changed my clothing styles. I tried to change the way I reacted to bullying and to socialization in general, repeatedly, over and over again, dozens of times. Nothing worked. In fact, my attempts to lift myself up socially only seemed to irritate those who held all the social power in my school. I was convinced that there was this big thing passing me by that was the key to happiness and confidence, like a train I was trying to catch, and no one would let me get on that train. I thought I would never be respected by my peers, never be mutually in love, never have a family of my own, never be happy. At one point, probably more than one point, I cried into my pillow and begged God to end my life. But things changed. Not all at once, but within just a couple of years. In college it was different. The very oldest kids in high school are 17 or 18. They are the big fish in the pond, and they set the tone. In college, a lot of the people are only 18 or 19, but the big fish are pushing into their early 20s, and are setting a very different tone. Also, I wasn't crammed into one building with hundreds of people I had essentially nothing in common with. I was in an idyllic little village of a campus where deep discussions were encouraged, and the people you saw the most of tended to be people studying the same things as you. In other words, people who had at least something in common with you. You can choose who you spend your time with. Your parents, if you were lucky like I was, and have good parents, are telling you now to ignore the bullies, and they're right. But it's hard when you're in high school, I know. You see them every day, and sometimes it seems that bullies make up half the population or more, and you aren't equipped emotionally to ignore these things in the first place. Maybe you've heard what I'm saying before, but graduation just seems so far away. The idea of being accepted seems impossible, like winning the lottery. But it isn't that far, and it's not impossible. And once you're free of that building, free of that age, it will be easy to ignore those bullies. It will be perhaps the easiest thing in the world. And when you're able to ignore it, it just stops. When you're an adult going through daily life, no one comes up to you and says the awful sorts of things they're saying to you now. Never. And if they ever do, people will think they're crazy, and so will you. It got better for me. I didn't miss the train. No one makes fun of me throughout the day. And many of those watching this video will know by now that I have a family. A wonderful, beautiful wife and a wonderful, beautiful son. What I'm trying to say is, it gets better. Thanks for listening.